Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about assembling your team. So if you're new here, thanks for coming along, and if you're already subscribed, I really appreciate you. Thanks for coming back. If you like what you see, I would love for you to subscribe and press the thumbs up button if you like what I talk about. As I said before, what I want to talk to you about today is assembling your team. I do have to say I'm sorry I haven't done a video before this. I've been really struggling the last couple of weeks. Got to be honest. Today's not even a great day, but I have to keep going, if that makes sense, and I'm sure it'll make sense to a lot of you. I have been putting in a lot of my tactics to keep going, and all of the tools in my tool bag, if you could say, just to manage each day. But that aside, what I want to talk to you about is one of the most important things that you need to have is a team. And what is a team? A team is professionals, doctors, surgeons, pain therapists. They can even be friends. A lot of things form your team. And what that does for you is it helps you to manage your pain situation, if I must say. So a classic example, if I'm talking about a friend, an example would be that you're having a really bad day, and say if you're a mum and you've got a child, because I did actually raise both my children during my pain cycle, and some days my ex-husband would come home and I'd be curled up in the fetal position in the kitchen. The kids would be doing I don't know what. They were, at the time I had a 4 and a 6-year-old, so yeah, they were hectic days. So part of your team is if you've got somebody that you can call on and say, look, I really need to have a lie down and the kids are here. Are you able to come over and look after the kids? Or can you take the kids for me so that I can actually have a lie down? Or you get your kids to be part of your team. My kids were great. I have to say they're superstars for putting up with what they've had to put up with. Considering my youngest child was Asperger's, and so there was a lot of challenges with that. But when they got a bit older, they started being part of my team too. So they would know if I'm having a bad day. Sometimes they would know before I would know, because they could see it in my face, or they knew by avoiding things I would normally do. Like a classic example is yesterday, I knew I had mail. I got an email to say that I had mail in my post office box. I just didn't have the energy to get out of the car and walk, I don't know, a couple of meters, probably 4 or 5 meters, maybe about 10 meters to get to my PO box and then back to the car. I could not do it. I came home, I sat down on the lounge. No, I didn't have any mail. I just sat down on the lounge and actually didn't even turn the TV on. I just sat there in peace, quiet for about 10-15 minutes trying to figure out what to do next. And that was actually 2 hours after having painkillers on board. So it was, yeah, it's hard sometimes. And so your team is what gets you going. So we spoke about friends and how they can help. The other side of that as well is when you go out with your friends, if you've got people that really understand, they may not completely understand your condition. They don't have to. It's not their thing to fix, or it's not their thing to understand. They just have to have a broad acceptance, I guess is probably a good way to put it, that you may quite often not be able to do what you're booked in to do. You may have said, I'm going to the races on Saturday, and come Saturday you wake up in the morning and you've had the night from hell. And you can't go. You can't get dressed and get up and go. You may force yourself, but I warn you, in the afternoon you will crash, or you will crash days later. So the best thing you can do is have understanding friends. And you obviously need your family around you. If you are lucky enough to have your family around you, then that is also good, because they'll be part of your team. I would hope in some cases that your family understand and buy into the fact that you're unwell. I don't know if that's the right words to use, but I unfortunately fortunately had my mum around in, my mum passed a few years ago now, and then, but in the earlier stages, maybe 10 years ago, she was great. She used to just go and pick the kids up from school. She'd take them for a milkshake. She'd do things with them in the afternoon, and then she'd bring them home. So she was a great team member for me back then. When she got a little bit older, it became a little bit harder because I had to become her team member. I had to start looking after her. When she was in a nursing home, I had to find time when I was feeling well enough to take her out, maybe go have lunch with her, take her to the hairdressers, get her nails done, whatever it is. So I had to look after her. So it works both ways with your family, because we know that family is family, and we need to stick together when it's conducive. Not all family members are great parts of your team. Some people don't believe that there's anything wrong with you. They can't see it. They might see when you have surgery. They might say, oh God, you're going in again for another knee replacement. Geez. You know, anyone else that'd be like, oh my God, this is just crazy that you have to go for this surgery. But when it comes to someone like me, like I've had 28 operations, I think by about the 20th they're going, really? You want us to actually come and visit you at hospital? Yeah, no. So, yeah, again, back to your team. So, friends and family. The next part of your team is obviously your GP. Now, I don't say go and doctor shop as far as, okay, this one will do this. What you do need to do is you have to find a very good team member. So your doctor is one of your GP, or your primary care physician is one of your main people. They have to be on your side. They have to know your condition. They don't have to know the ins and outs. They just have to understand. And they have to have a level of appreciation for what you may need. And why I say that, it is because with CRPS, which is one of the conditions that I now have, it manifests in different ways. It's not just a pain condition, so I've discovered. I had this, it's probably been maybe 2-3 months now. I started getting what looked like a heat rash on the insides of my knees, of both knees. So, and I thought maybe it's because I had my knees together that was you know, at night, because that's how I sleep, that it caused a heat rash. It'll go away. You know, 2 months later, we still have the same rash. I went to my GP and said, look at this rash. And that was after I'd had it for a month. Tried steroid cream, got rid of it for a little bit, but the next day she would come back with a vengeance. It's not itchy, not annoying, it's just there. So I asked her about it, and she said, look, that's not anything sinister, but you probably need to go and see a skin specialist to diagnose what it is. And I said, look, it's not bothering me. You know, it's not like my legs are $1 million, and you know, so nobody really gets to see my legs, so let's just wait and see if it gets any worse. Anyway, long story short, it is now running down my legs, and it's turned from just a little like heat rash to now they're actually purple. They're like little purple spots. And no, they're not like meningococcal, no, not like that, but just little tiny purple spots. And actually I'll insert a photo to show you the latest photo. And what I've discovered by doing a bit of research, it is part of the CRPS. So that is it. It is like a weird rash that just turns up in the areas that are affected. So the inside of my my kneecap, so this is my knee, the inside, this inner part right inside, bear in mind that's titanium, is where I get a big percentage of the pain. That's where I get the really acute pain. And what I mean by acute pain is that's like a pain when you break your leg for the first time, and that intense, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. That's that pain. That's what we call acute pain. Chronic pain is the constant flood of pain, whether it be burning, stinging, or could form any kind of pain, but it's chronic because it doesn't stop. It stops with medication, but it's always going to be there. It's always in the background. So that's what we call chronic pain. That's the difference between acute and chronic. So, yes, so when I say you need to have a good GP, like she didn't really understand, so now I'll go back and explain to her what it is so that the next person that comes in front of her will know that's what it is. But she also knows that if I'm saying to her that there's something not right with my ankle, or there's something not right with my hand, she knows that's broken through all the pain medication and all of the pain resources I have on board. It must be intense. So it's an escalation fairly quickly, whether it be x-ray, ultrasound, whatever. So she understands if a chronic pain patient presents with a intense pain situation somewhere in their body, it needs attention because it's breaking through all the pain, like all the normal pain therapies that you have on board, whether they be medications, whether they be distraction therapies, whatever it is. So there's something not right. So that brings me to the next part of your team. I had a fantastic orthopedic surgeon, and he knew when I was making an appointment to see him that it was probably to the point that surgery was required, because I knew how to manage myself to the point where, okay, I can't do this anymore. There's something not right. I probably need intervention. And more, he did majority of my operations, 17 he did. So my orthopedic surgeon was, one of the best members of my team. And then when you're talking about specialists, obviously orthopedic is definitely something that we need, because we're talking about our limbs, or our, shoulders, hands, wrists, knees, ankles, wherever your pain is. So an orthopedic, if you're somebody that has chronic pain from endometriosis, so then you're talking about you need somebody that is a gynecologist, or if you've got tummy issues, you need that specialist. So it's a specialist in the field of the source of your pain to an extent. So they're the next best thing, and they need to understand every time you present to a specialist of some kind, they need to understand that you have a chronic pain condition. It's important, especially people like your dentist, because any time you do any trauma will just exacerbate the pain wherever it is. And it doesn't matter if you're, having your little finger chopped off, but it's your leg that hurts. Trust me, the leg will amplify in pain. Well, the little finger might hurt a little bit too, but yeah. So that's the next member of your team. So is your specialist in the field that you have the source of pain. And then comes along is your pain doctors. I have an amazing pain doctor and has an amazing team and an amazing bunch of people that work with him. He's also very, very conscious about not too much medication, doesn't like too many S8 drugs. And what I mean by that is the high-level narcotics. And he tries to make sure that he can maintain you, given that you still have time to live your life. So we don't want to throw painkillers at you that are going to kill your kidneys, or they're going to do something to your liver, or they're going to, cause you other problems later on. So it's his job to manage that side of my health. So your pain doctor, I guess probably your number one person in your team would have to be your partner. Whether it be your spouse, whether it be your husband, your wife, your special other person. They need to be the biggest member of your team. If you don't have them on board, or if you don't have them rallying around to help you, then you really are going to struggle. You're really going to have a hard time with managing your way through this. So I'd advise that you'd have a really good team member, and you actually, you've got to let them know what it is that you're dealing with. And be honest. Always be honest. If you're having a shit day, you got to tell them I'm having a shit day. Don't try and hide it, because they'll see straight through you. And the other thing too is, if you're having a shit day and you're trying to do something, like you're trying to grin and bear it, you're just going to pay for it later. So if you say the family picnic's organised and you get up in the morning and you're really struggling to do whatever it is that you're trying to do, let the family know. Don't ever feel that you're a burden, because you're not. It wasn't your decision to be given this pain. I'm sure whatever led to your chronic pain, it was out of your control. And having chronic pain is also out of your control. But what is in your control is how you manage it. And so my best advice to you at the moment is managing your team. So I'll go through that again, is always friends. Get yourself a friend or friends. I mean, I think you find that your friends shrink down a little bit. Some people can't deal with people that are unwell. They find it really hard to communicate with them, so it's easier just to walk away. So your friends, then your family, that's the other side of your team. And then there's your GP, as we call it in Australia, or your primary care physician in the US. Then you've got the specialist in the field of where the source of your pain is. In my case, it's orthopedic, because it's my knees, my arms, my shoulders, my hands, all of that. So it's all orthopedic. And then there's your pain specialist. Get yourself a great pain specialist that understands. I would even do some research and check to see whether or not they understand whatever it is you have. In my case, it's CRPS. So I would, if I had to find a new team member, the first question I would ask is, do you know what this is? Have you had patients with this before? If not, then do you want to understand a bit more about it? Because the hard thing is, you don't want to go to a specialist or a person that doesn't understand your condition. Some of them don't believe it. They don't believe it's a proper diagnosis. You'll cop all of that. But what you need to do is go, that's not the right person for my team. I need to go find someone that is. So then you ask the questions. Don't be scared to say, ring up the receptionist and say, has he ever had this? If not, try and talk to the doctor beforehand. Do you know people with this condition? Like, I've got rheumatoid arthritis. Other thing to talk to them about. So don't be scared to say to them, do you understand this condition? So, and as I said, again, your pain doctor. And then number one supporter is your partner, your other half, your family, your immediate family that you live with. The people that you live with must be on your side. They must understand, because they are the biggest part of your team. They are what get you going. They're the ones that are supposed to support you the most. So it would be great if you had a very strong relationship. So that's what I wanted to talk to you about today, is getting together your team. So that's all from me. The next talk I'm going to do next week is I'm going to talk about medication and managing medication. So if you're interested in listening for that talk, then please subscribe and press the little bell button so you'll be notified when I put that video up. I'm trying to go for Friday afternoon, Saturday morning. So yes, I'd just love it if you would come back. And please, if you've got any questions or if there's any topics you would like me to talk about, I'm happy to do some research and talk on your behalf. Questions, please. Anyone got any questions? I'd love to answer them. But otherwise, stay happy, stay healthy, and bye for now.